So my name is Jack Fox. I'm an MBA student here at California State East Bay University. I'm going for my MBA in Operations and Supply Chain Management. I've been here a little while, but it's because I'm working full-time, 50 hours a week plus classes. So I've been doing for 15 years medical facility construction. So I've been working with Stanford, I've been working with UCSF, I've been working with a lot of other medical facilities all throughout the Bay Area. It's been very challenging, but very, very wonderful work. It's really gratifying to see a lot of the good things that are popping up throughout the Bay Area, and I'm really thankful for the opportunity. I remember after undergrad, I thought it was good. I thought it was okay, you passed it. But then one of the things that I realized was that on the job, I'm spending more time than I was in undergrad learning and training and trying to understand how systems work and trying to understand how to get the job done more effectively on time, on budget, and within quality parameters. And I realized that if I'm going to be studying and training, I might as well just go get an MBA. And I'm really thankful that I took that step, because I learned quite a bit so far. It's not exactly what I expected, but it's in a good way not expected, because there's a lot of different doors that a lot of professors held open for me that I would have not known to open myself. And when I'm stepping through and looking at all the other opportunities and all the other technologies and softwares and methodologies that are just right now being developed, it's great to be on the cutting edge. So I've been driving past California State East Bay for a long time, and it's a wonderful facility. I came here just to enjoy the walks on campus even without the classes. And then as I started thinking seriously about getting an MBA, I realized that they have a very, very good local program. It's very, very reasonable. It's reasonably priced, and you're getting a good bang for your buck. And you're also getting yourself in a position where you can easily commute from work to school and meet all of your other obligations at the same time. I think that's one of the things that I find my favorite about California State East Bay. It's I don't have to fight the commute. I don't have to sit in traffic for long amounts of time. I have more time and opportunities to spend on campus learning, and then I can go do what else I have to do. No, I had a professor, Alexander Makierevich. He was the most challenging. He had a really good program. It was a game. I thought it was at least I was told it was a game, but it was the CAPSIM program. It was not at all easy. I think one of the biggest challenges was you had to have a team of people, a whole bunch of people who you never met with before, you didn't know them, everybody has their own lives to live, and you all have to come together and make business decisions that have a real impact inside of the game. And we came in first place, my team, so I'm very proud of that. But it was not easy. Well, I can ascribe it to at least two professors. So Professor Chung Hui Woo, he's with the analytics program. I took his class. I didn't really know what I was in for. It was just phenomenal. I started learning about how to use AI, how to use Python, how to do programming, and how to modify scripts. There's a lot of things that I would have never tried by myself. I probably would have been intimidated, frankly, because there's just books and books and books on so many different subjects, and you don't even know how to scratch the surface. And then to have a professor come in and just open the door and say, hey, this is what you can do, this is what the technology is, and imagine where it's going to be 5 years from now, and how you can position yourself to be successful between now and then. And it's wonderful, because I take what I learned from his class, next day I'm using it on the job. Using Python to do an analysis of different problems and do a real structured, by the numbers, by the book analysis of multiple really complicated, very large data set based questions. We're talking about thousands and thousands of cells that you're trying to organize and make sense of. And it's just phenomenal, because you would look at the raw data and it doesn't make any sense at all. And then you start trying to use the tools and techniques and methodologies that you're being taught in class, and you start to find the patterns. You start to see the little keys that go to the doors. And it's just, it's really fun. So one of the things that I'm always thoughtful about, especially on the job site, is safety. It's one of my main priorities because I'm responsible for sometimes 100 to 200 different people, and they're going to be doing multiple different activities throughout the course of some of the projects. One of the projects I'm working on right now is the Parnassus Heights Hospital. It's about a $5.4 billion hospital. It's the biggest medical facility project in the state of California as of right now. And a lot of different moving pieces and a lot of different interests are going on. And some of the techniques that I have is taking all of those aggregated pieces of data, collecting them in a very nice, clean package, and then being able to present them to my upper management and the upper management of UCSF, who are very, very fond of clean, clear, easy outputs. So on the back end, I'm working a couple of hours to put together the beautiful presentation. But for them, the key thing is on the job, you have to deliver on time, you have to deliver on budget, and you have to deliver within quality. And what I'm learning now is making that a lot easier. I think a lot of the classes that I took, the leadership classes especially, a number of professors were very, very good about talking from your strengths, recognizing where you might have weak points, but also focusing on the strengths and what you can bring to the table. In this job specifically and in other jobs, one of the big challenges, which I'm sure that a lot of other people have as well, is public speaking. So when you're talking in front of a crowd and you're trying to explain to them the process, you're trying to motivate them to succeed and get the job done, it's a real challenge. You have to be able to articulate on the stage, on the spot, and then deal with answering questions from the audience. Sometimes you're dealing with 500 people. One of the biggest speeches I had recently was 1,000 people online and in person. And that was certainly something to remember. But practicing in the classroom is a lot better. I'm really thankful that I have an opportunity to deal with people in the classroom, my classmates, who are awesome. They all come from a lot of different backgrounds. They come from a lot of diversity of thought. So when you're talking to them and you're trying to pick their brains about how they feel about certain topics and how what they want and what their goals are, it makes it a lot easier to be able to connect with them. And when I can connect with them, I can connect with other people as well. Well, I'm very fond of my classmates. I have good relationships with my undergrad. Some of my classmates I've kept in touch with over the years. And I hope to keep in touch with a lot of my classmates here as well. I think one of the really big perks of Cal State University East Bay is the networking. You're dealing with a lot of people who work in so many different industries, doing so many different things, and you don't always know when you could ask them a question or two. And it's priceless. People who have been working in the industry, who are actively trying to better themselves and improve themselves, it's not always the answers that they give, it's the questions really. Because I wouldn't even think to ask some of these questions, but one good question and it leads you in an entirely different path. And you start thinking about, how can I do this better? How can I make this more efficient? It's really great to have people to bounce ideas off of. Well, it's good to have demands on your time. I don't like to stay sitting still, not doing anything. And between 50 hours a week per work and usually about 2 classes per week and personal life and social obligations, I realized really quickly that you have to be in charge of your schedule or your schedule is going to be in charge of you. And one of the wonderful skills that I'm developing, which I think I'm getting a really good hang on, is prioritizing. You have to know what's really truly important, and you have to be able to set time aside for that and be able to pause some of the other things that are maybe not quite as urgent. It's a trial by fire because you're balancing a lot of different, like you said, a lot of different obligations, and so far I've been successful. It's part of the reason why I chose California State University East Bay. Because if I didn't have the night class option, I wouldn't be able to do my program. I'm working more than full time, so finding time, I wouldn't be able to take time off from work, and that's one of the great things about the flexibility of the program. The MBA program here is awesome. I can choose, I can tailor, I can look a semester or 2 ahead, and I can figure out what my schedule is going to be then, and I can modify my plans. Yeah, I've been on campus even before I took classes here. It's a beautiful campus, really nice people. They have a lot of different events that happen on this campus. When I have the opportunity, I do spend some time here. Of course, you know, to be honest, between work and classes, I'm pretty tied up, but every once in a while, there's a really good opportunity. There's a lot of little clubs and groups that they have that offer a lot of different trainings and additional networking opportunities, which is so super valuable. When I actually started coming to this campus, I think the first people I met were the other students, student ambassadors, and they walk you through how they joined the program and how their progress is going through. And having somebody who's already done most of what you're going to be doing and kind of can give you a little bit of guidance, it's exactly why I chose this university. Okay. Well, I have a pretty good career right now, but it's always good to be looking out at the next horizon. I know that there's a lot of people who get very nervous on the subject of AI or other software that might automate our jobs in the future. That's also part of the reason I started to try to continue my education, because I want to be maybe 2 or 3 steps ahead of that, because I know that in the future there's going to be a lot more competition. Jobs are going to be much more challenging, much more complicated, and I'm thankful that I have a place where I can go and I can ask questions and maybe polish up my resume a little bit and practice interviews. Well, like I said in an earlier question, the Professor Chung-Kui Wu, teaching with the analytics and use of software and Python script, I was using that the next day on the job. So I'm past the hypotheticals. I'm already actively using what I'm learning on the job, and I'm getting some recognition for it. And I think that's really gratifying, because you have to be able to take risks and you have to be able to start doing something different. And I've never been one to just sit with the status quo, and knowing from classes, having an opportunity. For example, I had one professor, he was phenomenal. Oh, so many good professors, it's hard to always remember their names, but he organized a meeting for us on the Tesla factory in Fremont, and being able to go do that tour was really eye-opening. You get to see how the cars are made and how the rest of those opportunities are getting built, and it's really something fun. It's not just a class, it's really just fun just to see how everything is made. Well, I think it's enriched me overall, holistically. When I really think about it, I'm a lifelong learner. I've never stopped learning. In and out of the classroom, it doesn't really matter, because if you stop learning, it's over. So I'm going to keep learning as long as I can. In my professional life, I have to sometimes think 2 steps ahead. And the MBA program has made me realize when my competition is thinking 3 moves ahead, I need to be moving 4 moves ahead. And to do this kind of planning and to do this long-term thought and try to really sit down and analyze and look through the options and look through the opportunities and try to find those little places where I can add value, it's not easy. And if it was easy, everybody would be doing it. And that's one of the things that I really appreciate about the program. It's given me an opportunity to really think and bounce ideas off of other people, my classmates, my professors. And sometimes they bounce ideas off of me too, and you start to think about different ways of doing things. And I probably never would have thought of half the things that I've thought of and tried to do if it hadn't been for the program. I'm taking one right now. It's a good class. It's a marketing class and leadership class, and it's I think with a Professor Mike. But it's pretty interesting. It gives you a really good insight into how you present yourself and how you show yourself. Sometimes a lot of our work is now done online or hybrid, so I have to run a lot of different meetings, and I didn't always realize how I come across. And sometimes you need somebody to just say stop. Don't do that. And they're not going to tell you on the job. They're going to just let you make a fool of yourself. But having a professor, having my classmates come in and say, hey, maybe you could do this instead of this, and to be more cognizant and more thoughtful about how you communicate, it's really useful. I've taken a lot of trainings outside of classes, a lot of certifications. I have a PMP. A lot of those trainings and a lot of the testing, and most of that was done remotely. It gives a lot more flexibility to the people who are doing it, and I really appreciate that flexibility. And I really appreciate the options that it presents me, because it opens the door to a lot of different classes that maybe I wouldn't be able to drive to that campus, maybe I wouldn't be able to, set aside time on certain days. But having online classes, sometimes pre-recorded classes, and having it in a structured format that you can do step by step is really, really useful. And I think that's a little bit kind of how the education seems to be going. From my undergrad to now, it's only going more online. Well, there's one main one, and I was guilty of it myself. When I started the program, I just thought it would be just another credential. I thought, like, we'll pass it. But I think it's not always just the answers that are important. I think if you think of it as a climb of a mountain, as you're climbing the mountain, you're working hard, you're moving forward, you're planning your next steps ahead, you're looking back and you're seeing how far you've come. But when you get to the top of the mountain, it's gratifying, but I think the climb is more important. That's what I really value, because I have this experience now that I can take with me wherever I go, whatever I do. And I think that makes me more valuable as an employee. It makes me a better community member. It makes me a better member with my family. It makes me overall holistically better rounded. And I think that's good. I don't think I've looked 20 years ahead. I usually do 5 to 10 year plans. So far, I know that as soon as I finish my MBA, which is maybe a semester away, I know that it's not the end. This is just the beginning. So this is just the next stage. I'm going to finish my MBA and I'm going to continue getting certifications and other trainings. And I know that in my career, I've always seen it. The people who are always stepping ahead and moving and learning more and getting that competitive edge, that's crucial. And as the world economy gets more complicated, more competitive, more challenging, it's the people who step up and start learning how to use that technology instead of being afraid of it. Those are the people who are going to move everything ahead and build. And I want to be one of those builders. I want to help make the next generation. So I usually wake up around 5:30. 5:30, I got to wake up 5:30 because to get on the job site, you have to beat the traffic. You need to be able to get to the job usually by 6:30. The commute can be pretty brutal if you're not doing it right. Even 15 minutes late, you can be stuck in traffic for a long time. And then I get to the job site, I check out, make sure that everything is done safely, that the night shift has done everything that we were asking them to do previously. We check the quality, we make sure that everybody's safe, no safety reports, no violations, and then I go through my emails, check that I get any modifications. It's in business, it gets so much faster. Every day, every hour, time is money. And you need to be on top of it. You need to be able to figure out what's going on, and if you have to, you delegate it to the right people so they take care of it. And whatever you can, I like to take care of my own work. I don't like to delegate it, but sometimes you have no choice. When you're managing 100 people, there's no other options. You have to. I live and die by my ability to set my schedule because my calendar is packed. I'm looking 2 or 3 months out. A lot of my projects I'm looking at years. Some of these things I'm planning out to 2032 and probably beyond that. I'm looking at that. I'm making sure that that's all taken care of. And then I have meetings. I have meetings nonstop. Some days it's just meetings. And being able to articulate to people and being able to more effectively communicate with people, which is part of what I'm learning from this program, is really helpful. Because if you can cancel a meeting and still get the same value, that's a win-win-win for everybody. And then from there, I finish the day off, make sure that the next set of plans, next set of orders are in step for what's going to happen overnight if we have night shift going, and head on to class.